encourage people to send us letters who might need a little bit of assistance from occupational therapists. So I received a letter, and I'm going to read it to you all, and then we're going to follow along on a little journey with him. Dear OT Talks, my name is Harris. I'm a 20-year-old African-American male with a complete T3 spinal cord injury. Since my automobile accident, I have required a wheelchair. I have a right tibia and fibula and right proximal radial and ulna fractures. I have been working on my degree in computer science, and I would like to finish my semester at Dominican College. I live with my fiance in a small one-bedroom apartment on the 15th floor. My fiance and I are intending to be married next spring. Congratulations, Harris. My goal is to return home to school and to restore my role as a student by being able to safely access and navigate my environment. Thank you, Harris, for your letter. So today we're discussing universal design. So what is universal design? We see it every day when we're out in our communities, and there are 7 guiding principles for universal design. The first is equitable use. So what is equitable use? That means that the design is useful and marketable to people with all diverse abilities. It avoids segregating or stigmatizing users, and the design is appealing to all users. So an example would be power doors, such as walking into a supermarket. The next design is flexibility in use. This design accommodates a wide range of abilities and preferences. It provides a choice for use. So you would know this, you would see this with right or left-handed scissors. The next is simple and intuitive. That means that the design is easy to understand, regardless of the knowledge of the user. It's consistent with the user's expectations, such as a moving sidewalk or an escalator. The next is perceptible information. So this means that it communicates effective information regardless of conditions or the user's sensory ability. So this would give off tactile, visual, and audible cues. The next is tolerance for error. The design minimizes hazards and adverse consequences of accidental or unintended actions. And we use this all the time when we press the delete button on our computer, or an undo feature. The next is low physical effort. This design can be used efficiently and comfortably and with minimal fatigue, so such as things as lever or loop handles. The next is size and space for approach and use. So the approach, size and space is provides approach, reach, manipulation, and use for users regardless of their body size, their posture, or their mobility. So this would be something as wide gates at the subway station when you walk through. Multiple people, almost everybody, can get through those stations. Okay. So using those 7 principles of universal design, I, with a group of team members of occupational therapists, will be visiting Dominican College to assess specifically the Prusmack Center, since we know that Harris is going to be a computer science major. That is where a majority of his classes will be held. And we are going to be looking at specifically the Fury Lecture Hall, the bathroom, and the computer lab. So let's take a look and see what we found.
The Prusmack Center was opened in 2005. It serves as a teaching and learning center for the Health Science Department. It consists of offices, classrooms, labs, and the Fury Lecture Hall. It is 50,500 square feet and consists of 103 rooms. Prusmack Center has 13 handicap-accessible parking spaces and a ramp to the front door that meets ADA standards, as well as railings on the left and right sides. The ramp has the appropriate slope which is 1 foot of ramp for each inch of rise, as well as 5 by 5 foot flat, unobstructed areas at the top and the bottom. All doors to exit and enter the building have automatic doors, making them all handicap accessible.
Each room will be assessed based on the universal design principles and accessibility specific to Harris's needs based on his resulting injuries from the automobile accident. These include right tibia and fibula and right proximal radial and ulnar fractures and a complete T3 spinal cord injury. Therefore, Harris will have limited to no use of his right arm until his fractures are completely healed, and he will require a wheelchair use for functional mobility. That being said, the weight and need to manually open each door makes it inaccessible for our client. There is adequate size and space for approach and use for the back tables is an accessible height of 28 inches. There's also a ramp to access the stage. The middle rows of seating are not accessible. And the uneven flooring between the ramp and each row throws the wheelchair off balance, resulting in loss of traction. The front row is also accessible because the tables are not permanently fixed to the floor as they are in the other rows. The bottom of the ramp meets ADA guidelines, allowing for an appropriate turning radius to exit the lecture hall.
The elevator buttons are at an appropriate height of 37.5 inches, making them accessible to our client. Railings are placed appropriately around the elevator as per ADA standards. However, reaching the buttons for floor selection may be a challenge and would be more accessible if placed on the side wall.
Moving on to the computer lab. The weight and need to manually open the door makes it inaccessible for our client. However, the desks are adjustable for height and there is adequate space for approach and use. The open floor plan provides adequate space for functional mobility for individuals who use a wheelchair, and the tables are not fixed to the floor. The printer, however, is not accessible. A few safety hazards we noted are the hanging cords under the desk and the raised electrical outlets.
Like other doors in the building, entering and exiting the bathroom would be a challenge for Harris due to the lack of an automatic door option. The door width to enter the stall is within ADA standards and there is adequate space for the client to maneuver in order to safely and successfully transfer.
There are appropriately placed handrails. There is adequate space under the sink for approach and use of the soap dispenser and sink for hand washing. There is a 1-foot clearance from the pipe to the edge of the sink, reducing the risk of thermal injury. Though the threshold meets ADA guidelines, maintaining traction was difficult during evaluation.